have touched the pad. Everybody in the world fused. Now then, crew, and welcome back to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. And this is, as you well know, the gorgeous Tool Girl Lilli.
Hey guys.
And in a previous video, Lilli was given a Christmas present, and the Christmas present was this Suzuki DR200S, which is a basically used as a farm bike here in New Zealand. And I came across this bike a few weeks ago and decided that Tool Girl Lilli was in need of it.
Thank you, I'm so grateful.
Absolutely, no problem at all. Now, Lilli has a few paddocks where she runs her horses and so on. Do you run a horse? You own a horse? 10 to 3 horses. And an ideal location for her to have a play around on this bike. And it's hers to keep. It's her bike. It's not mine, it's now Lilli's bike. And we have no idea of the history of the bike. It doesn't run. I've turned the ignition on and there's no lights on the dash or anything. So the first thing for us to do is to get this bike hopefully up and running, and that's what this video is all about. And then over time I'll go through and, you know, fix any other faults that we can find. And then before Christmas, hopefully I can get this bike delivered up to Lilli in Auckland and she can go and play around in the paddocks. You can paddock bash.
Yeah, when the horses don't come to me, I'll just chase them until they're tired.
Across the field. Now you've got to remember, don't ride into any barbed wire like that, because I wouldn't forgive myself if you sent me a selfie from hospital saying, didn't quite go to plan, Andy. Can you bring me some flowers or something? Because I'm not very well. You know.
I won't be filming for a while. I've got broken arms and limbs.
No, we don't want that. We really don't want that. So let's head over to the bike and see what we can do. I mean, obviously it's got a flat battery or no battery at all. We need to work out what it needs to get it going. Chances are the fuel's going to be stale, so we might have to replace the petrol in the fuel tank and the carburetor and bits and pieces. So a good little test case. Let's find out what we find.
Awesome.
You ready?
Let's do it. Yep.
Ready
Exciting.
to get dirty and on the tools again? Finally, after all these months?
Yep. Let's do the diagnosis.
So. Here we go. But the first thing we do before we even crank the engine over, if we can crank it over, is we need to check that the engine's got some oil.
Okay.
Now, by the looks of it, I've not worked on a Suzuki like this before. I think the dipstick of the oil check window is going to be on the other side of the bike.
Right.
So if you whiz round there, I'll grab the camera and we'll see what we find. Right there, Lilli, without taking too much of the shot, we've got here on, this is the correct side of the engine.
Yep. It
tells us how much oil it should be in the engine, 850 centimetres cubed or 0.85 of the litre.
Yep.
Now, this is very similar actually to the GN250 engine that I worked on. So that's going to be the oil filler, is that one there.
Right,
so I don't know how tight it's going to be. Can I look? So we can undo that. Yeah, pretty soft. And what we have down here is a sight glass window. So if I give you a little torch, yeah, look, if you have a look in there, then you can tell me if you can see any oil. And you can put the cover down if you want. That's it. You got the torch? Yeah. All right, let's do a little close up and see what we can see.
Oh gosh.
Now, if I tilt the bike over, it's quite black in there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So if I tilt the bike over, if you just pull your torch back so we can see the lens. I'm just going to push the bike. Hang on. Can you see any bubbles develop at the top? There you are, look.
Oh, yes, I can see it. Oh, it's got oil.
So it's actually got slightly more in than it should have.
Yeah, right.
But that's okay for starting it up for now, but we don't want to start the engine with no oil in it, because that would be pretty bad, wouldn't it? Yeah. So we're all good. We've got oil in the engine. Awesome. So you can put your little cap back on. We don't need to top it up.
Cool.
So what we'll do then is we'll bring the bike down to normal height.
All right.
And then we'll check out and see if we've got, well, let's see if we've got a battery in there first. So it's probably, is it going to be on this side? I think it's going to be on the other side. This is more the air filter side. So we'll flick over the side of the bike. Okay. Take the side panel off, see if we can find the battery.
Awesome. Right. Be under the white one?
I think so, on the other side, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet.
Right, Lilli, so we've got this little white panel. I think this white panel comes off on its own. Right. And to do that, we've got an Allen key type bolt just there, look. So that looks like a number 5. Let's go and grab that. See if you can get that undone. Sorry, the camera's in the way.
That's right.
I'm going to move it around here a little bit. There we go. And you can just put your bolts down on the bench for now. Can't wait to get this bike started up, you know, it's going to be so cool.
So good. I'm enjoying this ride.
Yeah, you are. You can take the ratchet off now if you want. So we'll just unpop that. There you go. Yeah, you can whiz it out now. It's in way too good a nick to be scrapped as this bike, I tell you. It's quite tidy.
I like the seat.
Yeah, well the seat's not even ripped, which is good.
I know.
Right, so that should, if you give a bit of a ride, it should just come off. So you pull the bottom out.
Oh, bottom first.
Yeah, pull that out and it should just unclip. There you go, you've got it. Don't be afraid to give it a pull.
This side. Oh.
There might be a rubber grommet in there, so if you just pull that towards you, yeah? So start at that end maybe.
And there must be one somewhere here.
Is it coming? Oh, hey, nearly got yourself. Jeez.
Here we go.
Cool. Okay, well, straight away we can see that the reason why it doesn't start is we don't have a battery. God damn. Fancy giving me a bike with no battery in it. So we need to, that's the positive. Can you find the ground? The earth? Oh, there we are. Look, that's that one. There we go.
Yeah.
So we've got the two wires. So we'll get a big jumper battery.
Right.
And with some jump leads, and we'll just clip them onto there. I don't think I've got a battery that'll fit. We'll have a look. I might have. We'll have a look, actually. Right, I've got this one. I'm not sure if this is going to fit. That might be too big, might it? Let's have a look. Ooh, that looks a little bit too wide, doesn't it? Okay, I'll get the big jumper battery. And we'll get the leads.
Awesome.
Right, I reckon this one's out of an ROV. I reckon this one's going to be big enough to start this bike. So we'll stick that down on the bench. Now that rope might fall in your head. It's just sort of precariously balanced. So.
Okay.
Oh, good job.
Maintain the balance.
Professional. There's way too much stuff in this workshop, to be honest. But anyway. You all good?
Yeah.
Bit of a squeeze through there, isn't it? Good job. Okay. Now the important thing is, because we're just going to clamp onto the actual leads themselves. The positive one, once we connect them up, the whole frame is battery negative. Right. So we need to make sure that the clamp on this one doesn't touch the frame, otherwise it's all sparky stuff and it all goes a bit pear-shaped. So if you click the negative onto there, we'll do the bike first. That's cool. Yeah, it should be good enough, should that? And then put your positive on there, and you're going to be in charge of the positive.
Just holding up.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. Cool. That's fine. And I'll do this end now because at the moment.
Should I hold them like that?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, well, the negative's irrelevant. You can let go of that one. That'll be fine. But just this one here, I need to make sure it doesn't ground out, or you'll see sparks.
Okay.
Right. So battery positive on there. We're still good. Haven't got a circuit yet. Once I connect this one, then we've got a circuit. Yeah. So we'll stick that on. Ooh, something's happening. Hear that?
Yes.
So the ignition must be on. That's cool. Okay. Tell you what. Right. You go around that side.
Okay. I'll give you this one.
I'll hold that. Okay. Now we're not worried about starting on all at the moment. We just want to make sure we're just checking the cranking circuit. Okay. So yeah, we've got headlights on, ignition's definitely on. If you press that button, it should crank.
Do I just tap it?
Yeah, I think it's in neutral, so we'll find out. Go on. Okay, so the headlight's going out. Right, so just try that. Still nothing. Okay.
Nothing.
All right, maybe we've got to pull a brake in. Sometimes you've got to do that with these bikes. Try again. Hey, look at that. All right, will it crank over? Cool. Okay, right. Keep going. Right. Okay, stop there. Yeah. Okay, so we know it cranks just. Cool. And we've not shorted anything out
Why
yet.
do you need to hold the brake down?
Oh, it's usually a safety thing. They have like a little, there's a little clutch switch
That's
here.
That's sort of like when you start some manuals, you have to have your foot on the clutch, right?
Now it's definitely not, it's not in gear, I know that, but it might be that the neutral switch isn't working.
Right.
So the relay is triggering to prevent the bike from cranking, because if it's in neutral, you shouldn't have to pull the clutch in.
Yes,
If it's in gear, you would need to pull the clutch in.
Oh,
otherwise it'll lurch forward, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it definitely cranks, so we'll turn the ignition off for a second, which is...
That one.
Oh, hang on. That's weird, hang on a minute.
We're not turning off. Yeah, we're not turning on.
No, so we'll turn the key on now, because it was off, but it was cranking, that's weird. So try again.
Weird?
Yeah, just press your fire button again. Okay, right, so we need a bit of choke. So where the hell is the choke on this bike? Let's have a little look around. I'll just
is that one of those little pulley out?
Yeah, I'll just gonna move the camera. Okay, Lily, I reckon the fuel's definitely stale, that's why it's not firing. But we've definitely got an issue with the ignition switch. It's been bypassed by the looks of it, which is really weird. And on the carb there, so it's all the way out now. We should also check we've got some fuel. So we need a little star screwdriver. And we can undo that and see if we've got fuel actually in the float bowl. We'll drain a little bit out and see if we can get it fired up. Right, if you go and get yourself a nice star screwdriver. I do like those pants you've got on.
I love them. They're so comfy.
They are cool, aren't they?
They're so stretchy.
Perfect for the workshop.
They're like perfect for what we're doing.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, good job. That's fantastic. Okay, so just down here,
Yeah.
this is the float of the carburetor, because it's a carburetor, not a fuel-injected bike. That screw there, if you turn it anti-clockwise, maybe 3 or 4 turns, we should start to see fuel dribble out the bottom there. Now again, I don't know how long this bike's been parked up for, so it may be... Oh, look at that, what a pro.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. Okay, let it drain a bit.
Let
and
it drain?
Yeah, because usually when the fuel goes stale, often it's the fuel in the carb that goes stale first.
Right.
And the fuel in the tank isn't normally too bad. I'll just grab a rag.
Yeah.
Now some people would say that this is incredibly dangerous having petrol lying around a motorcycle when you've got jumper leads that can spark at any second, but they're quite safe, I have checked. So if you give it a few more seconds, we're just going to make sure that the fuel keeps flowing and doesn't just stop, because if it stops then the tank's empty. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to check. We've got fuel is currently in the reserve,
Yeah.
but it's got a prime position on the switch on the tap here. Look, so we'll put it in prime because the engine's not running, so we need to be in the prime.
Right.
It looks a bit cleaner now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
It's
so you can close that off.
Close up.
That's cool. Perfect. You don't have to go too tight. It's all right.
Sweet.
Otherwise, we'll never get it undone next time.
Yeah, and then I'll thread it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, now
Okay.
let's run down the back. But we'll
Cool. That's all right.
Okay.
That's all right. If it catches fire, we'll just run.
We'll just
It'll be all right.
run.
It'll make a good
Get
video,
the
won't
fire
it?
extinguisher.
Andy Mechanic's workshop burns to the ground. Tool Girl Lilli was back for one day. Yep. Okay, so we can lose the screwdriver. If you want to pop around the other side again, and we're going to see if it'll fire up this time.
Cool. Oh, it's exciting.
So we've got the choke out. We've got as good as gas we've got in the petrol in English. Good at some reasonably fresh petrol in the float ball now. We're not sure how old the fuel is in the tank. If it doesn't start this time, we'll check for a spark. All right. So if you want to,
Right.
I'll pull the clutch in again. If you want to give it a crank. Do you want to turn the throttle a little bit while you're doing it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my word! Oh,
That was so
bloody
quick.
hell!
We're running. See ya.
That is awesome! Hey, chopped on.
And why was it a scratchy?
Cool. Well, we can leave it running. We'll go back to the bench, yeah?
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Good job. I have no idea, but it started straight up, didn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Honestly,
We did it.
short video or what? So all we did was put a battery on it with some jumpers. If you see flames, by the way, tell me and I'll run
Let
over
us
and
know.
stop it. Yeah.
I'll go that way.
So we put a battery on it. It wouldn't start. It did crank over, though we found a fault with the ignition switch where it seems to be on all the time. So maybe there's an ignition barrel fault, and maybe that's why it's been draining the battery. They've just gone, too hard to diagnose. I don't know. So we drained the fuel in the car, which allowed some slightly less off gas, off petrol to go and refresh the car. It looked pretty manky when it first came out,
Yeah.
but now it's idling on its own. The choke's still out at the moment. So what we need to do now, we already found one fault. We need to give the bike a bit of a look over and find out what other work it needs to be done,
Right.
so I can prepare it ready for Lily, ready for Christmas.
Thank you.
Easy, eh? So
cool.
when you hear the bike running, it comes to life. You're like, yes!
And then your smile goes, you're like, yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
almost
Isn't it?
there.
It lives again, and it was going to be scrapped.
It's
This is the
nuts.
point.
That's
This bike,
outrageous.
this bike was going to be crushed. It was going to be thrown away. What a waste.
I will give it a good life.
You will. I know you will. That's why you're getting the bike. Good job. Let's go and take a look.
Let's go.
The first job, we need to turn the bike off. So if you squeeze through the gap, because I can't get through there. Man, you can feel the heat. It's starting to warm up, isn't it?
yeah.
Well, we're just going to take the choke off.
Yeah.
Oh, it still runs. Look at that.
Oh,
Good.
nice.
Okay, so if you press the red button, push
fine.
it in, that should turn the bike off. There we go.
Nice.
Now, if you turn the ignition off, can you reach up there and turn the key anti-clockwise?
Yeah, it's not gone.
No.
Nope.
So it's off now, is it? And we've
Yeah,
still got
it's
a
off.
headlight, which is
Yeah.
there's the fault.
Yeah.
So we'll need to disconnect the
And the
battery.
ignition light's still on.
Yeah, so we'll disconnect that. We'll get rid of the jumper leads.
interesting.
There we go. Okay, right, let's have a bit of a tidy up, and then we'll have a look around the bike and quickly run through what other work it needs to be done, because I've got to make a list, basically.
Awesome. What are these?
These are bush guards.
Wow.
So basically, when you're riding the bike, if you fall off or you go through it's like a wooded area, then the branches, if these are not there, the branches can actually affect the clutch, and they can pull in the brake as well. So you might end up going ahead if something hits the lever.
Yes.
The front brake locks, and then you go over the handlebars.
Wow, that's so clever.
So we have
Very
these on like
well
trail
thought
bikes,
out.
and and they're super strong as well. So if on a farm, especially, they tend to have them more to protect the lever in case a cow knocks the bike over
Wow.
when the farmer's opening the gate or something. So if it falls over, it doesn't break the lever.
Wow,
It just
clever.
bangs in the ground,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
off you go again. But man, that is so cool. It runs.
So
I am
well
I am
thought out,
impressed.
isn't
I am good old Suzuki. What a
Yes.
machine. Right, Lily, I'll pass you these jump leads across. Oh, I'll do it over the top. Look, there you go. If you want to hang those back up, we're finished with those for now.
Cool.
I'll get rid of the battery.
Try not to drop that rope.
It's pretty soft, it won't hurt. So. It's quite full, that hook, isn't it? Yeah. I need more hooks. Good job. Right, come back around this side and we'll do an appraisal on this side first.
Right.
Right. So,
Yeah.
obviously, looking at the back, we've got a few lights and stuff missing, but that's an easy fix, and I have got a couple of scrap bikes, so I can get all those bits off there.
Awesome.
What's important, starting at the back, is, well, your tyres bald. You're not going to get a lot of grip from that. So whoever's been riding this bike's ridden it to nothing, basically. So it needs a new tyre on the back, which I've already got in stock, so we can sort. It should be an 18 inch, I think, a little round. See if we can find some numbers on it. Yes, it's a 410 by 18, so I definitely have one of those. It's got a rim lock, we call that, so you can run the tyre at quite low pressure and it's not going to slip on the rim and tear the tube. So I need to obviously undo that to replace the tyre. And I need to do a video actually with changing tyres that are fitted with rim locks.
Right.
Now, straight away I can tell, you see these marks on the sprocket?
Mm-hmm.
This chain has fallen off at some point.
Right.
And it's jammed in here and it's taken all the paint or the coating off the sprocket.
Yeah.
Now, possibly, when that happens, it can stop the bike suddenly. It can jam the rear wheel.
Yes, yeah.
And worst case scenario, it can actually damage the gears in the gearbox.
Oh,
So that could be a reason why this bike's been scrapped, that it's got a problem with the gearbox. And we've not tested that yet, have we?
Yes,
So I'll need to actually ride the bike at some point and make sure all the gears are good.
Yes.
If one of the gears is faulty, then I might need to find another engine at one of the other bikes and put it in, or strip that engine and fix it. But that's quite an expensive job.
Yes, yeah.
And if we've got a spare engine kicking around, then I'll just chuck that in.
Do
Yeah?
that. Right.
The condition of the chain is horrific.
Mm-hmm.
It's been left out in the rain. It's all rusty and horrible. To check the wear, it's a bit difficult when it's so rusty, but the more you can pull the chain away from the sprocket, the more worn it is.
Right.
So it doesn't feel too bad. You can see there, look, if you can actually see the teeth under there. So it is a bit worn, and I would expect that on a farm bike. And these particular bikes, they don't have, some other brands, one particular brand that I can't show on the channel, has a fully enclosed chain guard, which is really, really good for the farmers because it keeps the dirt off the chain, and it doesn't wear anywhere near as quick. You actually get 15, 20,000 Ks out of a chain on a bike with a full chain guard. Whereas this style, which is exposed, you might only get 5,000 kilometres. And they're quite expensive, you know, due chain and sprockets is a few $100s every time. So it's, if you're choosing a farm bike, it's good to get one with a fully enclosed chain guard. So this bike probably is going to need new chain and sprockets, new back tyre.
Can you build custom chain guard?
Yeah, you
Just
could
add
do.
them on
You could do. You
somehow.
could make
Do
something
it
up if you
clever.
really wanted to.
Yeah.
I think for your level of use and the kind of terrain that you're riding, which is mainly grass,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
going to be a problem. It's when you're in the thick mud
Yes.
and going across ploughed fields and stuff, it causes a problem. Okay, so the next job is we need to check the swing arm bearings. So
Swing arm bearing.
yeah, so this is the swinging arm. In England, we've got swinging arm.
Yes,
Here we've
yeah.
got the swing arm. So this is the swing arm, and it pivots off a mount at the back of the engine. So
Right.
basically, there is a video on how to check that, but I'll cover it with you now and show you how to do it.
Cool.
What were you saying, Lily? You asked me a question for a second.
What's
then.
this?
Oh, this. Obviously, a chain wears, doesn't it?
Yes.
Right? And it's going to get really, it's actually quite slack as it is, but as it wears, it gets more slack. So what we do on a motorcycle is we undo this spindle here, the axle.
It's like a tensioner.
And this is what we call a snail cam. Oh, look at that, somebody's been hammering it. So it's a snail cam. So you undo the axle nut, and then equally on both sides, you click that around them, until the chain's the correct tension again.
Right.
And then you tighten up the axle. It's quite a simple process.
Yeah.
And obviously when you run out of adjustment, that usually tells you that the chain's completely shot.
Yeah, cool.
Now, to check these swing arm bearings, we have to jack up the bike.
Right.
So we need to find a bottle jack and get the rear wheel just off the bench, and then I can check to see how much play there is on those swing arm bearings. Because if they're really shot, I'm going to need to replace them. You can't be riding a bike around with shot swing arm bearings.
Right.
Because that could be a reason why the chain fell off.
I see.
Because if those bearings are shot, the swing arm, when you put it under power, the swing arm moves out this way because it's trying to get closer to the sprocket on the gearbox.
Yeah.
So it moves out, and then the chain line is wrong.
Yes,
And it drops off the sprocket. Yeah. Right. So again, it's another possible thing that could cause this issue here. It's probably down to poor adjustment, in all honesty.
Yeah.
And it might have happened with the previous chain, if it had one. We don't know when that happened. We just know it's rusty, and it may not be this chain. So let's find a bottle jack and get it jacked up.
Awesome, let's do it.
Okay, Lily, if you head over, you'll see this horrible wall in the middle of the workshop. You'll see a range of bottle jacks on there. If you grab, let's say, grab that one. That'll do. Yeah, that'll work. Grab that, and then just pop it under the engine of the bike, somewhere where it's going to touch the frame, and we'll get that twizzled up. Is that going to work?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I think so.
So you've got these bars that run under the frame. This is a bash guard, so you can put it under there.
Or that one.
Or probably under there actually.
Yeah.
Put it on the back. It takes some of the weight or pressure off the front end. Twiddle that up, and I'll get you a bar so we can actually maybe a screwdriver just to crank it up the last little bit.
Yeah.
Have you had some more ink done recently on your arms? Are they all still original?
I need more.
Everyone that has ink says that they
I made my work incentive, so they give me $1 grand on the 20th of December, and I reckon it's going straight to rent and tattoos.
Tattoos first, and then if there's anything left, the rent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Pretty
it.
much.
You girls are all the same, like you.
Makeup, beers.
Yeah. Not bothered. We'll just pay it back.
Fuel for the car.
That's it, Lily. Keep going.
Keep going.
And just keep going until the back tyre just lifts off the bench.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not the fastest jack in the world, unfortunately. I can sense a little bit of editing going on. You carry on doing that. I'm just going to take a little wander around the workshop because there's all sorts of things that I should really be filming at the moment.
Oops.
Man, those pants look really good on you.
They're so comfy, eh?
What are they called again? Freddy's.
Freddy Wear-Ups?
Freddy's, they're cool, they are.
Freddy. I think they're an Australian brand.
Oh yeah, from Aussie.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
Here we go. We're getting some tyre movement. Slowly.
Let's have a little look, see if we're completely airborne. Because we've got to take all the weight off it first.
Yeah.
I think we're almost there. Oh yeah. Oh, nearly fell over. Jeez. It's those pants. I can't keep my balance anymore. That's it. We're there. Cool. Good job.
Awesome.
Let's stick the camera back on the old tripod again.
Oh yeah, you want to slide off.
Okay, so I should get used to this because I've done it 1,000 times. So if you go to the back of the bike,
Yes.
there we go, look. Just get my old camera sorted out. There we go, right. So the plan of attack, if those bearings in the swing arm are loose or worn, then this is going to move this way.
Right.
So you need to grab hold of the frame somehow, maybe up here, all right? And then actually pull that from side to side. So I'm going to move the camera around the back so we can see any kind of movement. There you go, Lily. So, so if you grab hold of the frame, on the actual tyre, because you get more leverage, and you're trying to rock it from side to side, so that way and then towards you. Can you feel any kind of knock?
Not really.
It feels pretty solid, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, look what I have spotted.
The whole bike's
Broken spokes. Oh man, look at that.
What's going on?
1, 2, 3, 4. Now they could have happened when the chain came off as well.
Yeah.
That's terrible, isn't it? Any more? Hang on a minute. Oh, is it in gear? No. No, it's just a bad chain.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
The chain's just tight because it's all rusted. So we've got a few broken spokes to fix. God damn, more work.
But that wasn't.
No, it's nothing to do with the swing arm.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll have a little check again. Now, obviously, because there's some broken spokes, there's going to be a bit more flex in the rim, in the wheel. But no, it feels really good actually. So that's a good thing.
Because everything's rocking with it, though. So.
It is. Yeah, yeah. What you're feeling, if it's worn, you'll feel a distinct clunk, clunk,
Yeah,
clunk,
right.
clunk, you know.
There, yeah.
Another little trick is if you scrunch up the chain, that obviously provides force like that, and you'll see it move as well. So again, there's nothing there. It's quite solid on the swing arm.
Yeah.
How many have we got again? So broken spokes.
One.
There's one. Okay, let's keep going round. Don't trap your fingers. Oh, there's one. Look, obviously just dangling down like a dead spoke.
There, three.
So that's three. Keep going. Any more? It's all on this side, isn't it? The drive side. The other side seems fine. Another one. 5 now. Holy shit. Any more? They all feel pretty good?
Yeah, that's
Then we'll go put it back to the, there's the valve. So back to the beginning. So 5 broken spokes. Jeez, so this side is all good. Okay, that's cool. So we need 5 spokes. So I'm going to have to...
Alright, so you can actually replace the spokes.
Oh yeah. So when I take the tyre off, obviously I'll be taking the wheel out of the bike, take the tyre off. Whilst the tyre's off, replacing those spokes and truing the wheel is actually quite an easy job. It doesn't take too long. I've just got to make sure I get the right length spokes to fit, for new ones.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'll fit a chain and sprocket kit.
Cool.
So the whole back end is sorted then.
Right.
And whilst the wheel's out, I'll check the wheel bearings. It's not really easy to check them at the moment because of the condition of the chain. You know, we can't spin the wheel, it doesn't spin fast enough to check that.
Yeah.
Cool, okay. Right, I've spotted one more thing at the back. On the other side, unfortunately.
What is it?
In fact, we'll cover that when we go back round. So let's move further down that side. What have you found, Lily?
Oh, I was just reclipping this little bracket in. That one?
Oh, for the front brake?
Down here. So
Oh, it's just got bent, hasn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
the
just a
clip's
bit
sort of a
bent.
bit loose. Oh, we can easily fix that, that's no problem. Cool, okay. So looking at the engine then,
yes.
we know it runs. We know the fuel's good enough to get it fired up, and we know that there's oil in the engine. We can't test the clutch or the gearbox yet because we've not done a test ride.
Yeah.
So there's not really much more we can do here, although there are no oil leaks, which is the engine looks really, really clean.
It does,
it looks crazy new, to be honest.
It does.
I would say that this bike is less than a year old. That's my gut feeling.
Wow, and
Yeah,
someone's just
yeah,
played around with it and then
yeah.
gone,
Oh, it's missing a side stand. There's no stand, so
Oh,
I'll have to
yes.
get a stand off one of the other bikes to
Right.
sort that out. And obviously we need a
What's
battery.
that?
That's easy. That
what is the purpose of that?
now, I'm pleased you asked about that, Lily,
What on
because
earth is that?
it's for tethering your dog when you're parked.
Actually.
No. I have
Oh
no,
my God.
I have no
Why?
I have no idea what it's for, other than maybe to keep your boot off the frame to try and
right.
save some of the frame paint. It's like a little guard.
Wow.
But no, I have no idea, to be honest.
Interesting.
I don't know. It's not for holding the spring for the
Well, I
stand
will
because
use
that's
it
over
to
here.
hold the
so-
dog, and then when he runs, he'll drag the
Just,
bike with
just,
him.
well, just remember to unclip the dog when you go
Yes.
for a ride. All right, otherwise he's going to be a bit upset, isn't he? Yeah.
He won't be able to let me know, will he?
Help! Right, to the front of the boat. We need to check the front
Right.
wheel, don't we? See if we've got any more broken
yes.
spokes. Jeez. Now, Lily, obviously we can't spin the front wheel because it's in the stand.
Yep.
Now, let me get you... Oh, you've got the screwdriver, anyway. Look, so a good check for spokes. Obviously, the rear ones are obviously broken. But if you just tap them,
Ah, yes.
they should all sound about the same tone. There you go. So, that's right. So, but if you get one that's a real sort of dull thud, then it's loose.
Yes. Good.
Oh, that one needs a bit of a tweak, doesn't it? Okay. You'll be playing the tune.
Can
on
you
that
hear it?
shortly.
Like ding, ding, ding. Dong,
Yeah,
dong.
that's the one. So maybe you could just do a little bit of what we call a true, where we just put it in the tuning stand, and just go around and just give them all a bit of a tension up.
Right.
Which is something that should be done on all new motorcycles. Out, at the first service, is you should go around and check that the spokes have all got the correct tension, because things tend to bed in and loosen off a little bit over time.
How do you test the tension?
Well, that's basically how I do it. I
just like that.
Yeah,
right.
I listen for a dull one.
Yeah.
And in the stand, I can spin the wheel and check the run out of the rim to see if it's bent. Because obviously, if you get a really loose spoke, the rim goes out of adjustment. It goes out of true, so to speak.
Yes.
So you've got to true it up and just keep checking the spoke tension. And another way is to give them a little squish with your fingers. And any loose ones will move a lot easier.
Yeah.
You know, these actually don't feel too bad, to be honest. So the front wheel is actually in pretty good nick.
Definitely.
Million times better than the rear. Now, something else we've got at the front end is this particular bike's got a disc brake.
Right.
Now, some of the farmers don't like disc brakes on their farm bikes, and the reason for that is mud gets on the disc, and then it gets on the brake pads, and the pads wear out really quick.
Right.
With a drum brake, a properly sealed drum brake, it keeps the mud out. And the brakes, even though they're not quite as powerful as a disc brake, they last a lot longer, which is cheaper servicing for the farmer.
Yeah.
And it's all about the money with the farmers. They've got to run these bikes as cheaply as possible.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
So what we can do is we can undo the caliper bolts here, these two. These look like 12 millimeters. We'll undo those, take the caliper off, and we'll see how worn the pads are.
Okay.
Yeah?
Cool.
So we're going to need a ratchet,
In there.
which we've already got from earlier on. We've got the ratchet.
Need a number 12.
And we need a 12mm socket. Right, so we need a 12mm socket, ideally single hex if you've got it. Are you sure that's a 12?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I hope so.
Because I always get the 13 or the 11, it's so annoying.
And I was like, maybe it's not. Yeah, it is.
Good job. Okay, can you get in with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So it's going to be good. Now listen, there's a knuckle thing going on there. You could hurt your knuckles. So give it. That's it with your palm. How tight is it? Oh, you got it.
Crank it up. There we go.
If you want to crack that one off at the same time. Oh, look at that. Good job. So you can spin those. They're probably even finger tight now, actually, because they're usually caliper bolts. So they crack off pretty easy. Good job. Cool. You stick those down on the bench somewhere. Excellent. Now what you're looking at. Oh, mind your head.
Do I need to take this off or no? Oh no, it will all come off as one piece.
Yeah, we should have enough wiggle room just to get the caliper off. So if you just sort of wiggle it that way, it should go off the disc. Now the disc, it's not too badly worn, it should come on. What you can do, you get your screwdriver that we've already got out, because it's good to use tools that are already out. You can use that as a lever while you're wiggling it. So see if you can find somewhere just to find the gap. You got it? Oh, you're going too far. Yeah, almost. Hang on. I'll give you a heads up.
It was between.
So if you go on there like that.
Ah, yes.
There you go. All right.
Ah, yes, I see. Oh.
You got it?
Yep.
Oh, so good.
Did it.
Okay, right. So if you spin the caliper round, we should be able to see. Yeah, because the pipe doesn't like to be bent, but you can see. Oh, bits of farm. Look at that.
We have some.
Fantastic. Okay, so in there, can you see what the brake pads?
Ah, yes.
Is it going to focus? Go back a bit, Lily, if you can. That's it. There we go. Okay, so you can see on here, it looks pretty like there's plenty of meat left on because it's close up. Believe me, these are really worn out. There's about 0.5 millimeter of pad left, brake pad material left on that outer pad.
Yeah.
So it's going to need some new front brake pads, but that's all right. We can get those. That's not a problem. And if I just apply the front brake, let's just see if those pads actually go a bit closer together.
Okay.
You ready?
Oh,
look at that. Cool.
Nice.
So we've got we've just checked there. We've got good piston retraction because the pad's moving back. So that caliper is actually in a serviceable condition. We don't need to pull it apart because we're doing this on a budget. We don't spend too much money on the bike.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if it's working, we'll just chuck some new pads in, and away we go. Brilliant.
Cool.
The pads.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we come to replace the pads, we there's two little tabs here. Look, we just bend those back.
Right.
Undo these two brake pad retaining bolts. They'll come out, and then the pads will just drop out.
Right.
Put the new ones in, put the bolts back in, away you go. And I think these look like the same brake pads as on some of my ATVs.
Oh yes.
Which means I might even have some in stock, which is pretty cool. These are made by Nissin. So these are probably the original brake pads from when this bike was made, because it's a Japanese bike. Which means, if they are the original ones, because usually they would fit aftermarket brake pads when they come to replace them, this bike hasn't even worn out completely its front pads.
Wow.
Which means it hasn't done very much work at all.
I see.
Really, everything's telling me this bike is quite new.
I wonder what its history is, though. Like, what happened
Yeah.
for it to end up in the scrap pile?
Now, I'm going to need a flat screwdriver just to pry those pads apart a little bit so I can get it back on the disc. Can you grab us one of those? Yeah. Cheers.
Flat here?
Yep, that'd be perfect. Cool. I'll show you how to push them back. Okay, so if you get your flat screw, I'll hold the caliper.
Yeah.
And you put the flat screwdriver in and just twist it. And what that will do is it'll push the piston back into the caliper.
Right.
And it'll give us just enough room to get the disc back in the gap. Because obviously I applied the brake, so they've moved a little bit.
More?
Yeah, if you can. It's a bit hard when it's moving around. When you hear your knuckles crack, you know you've hurt yourself. See if I can do a bit more. See, we can see the piston there, look, it's actually quite shiny. You could maybe do a bit of a clean. We'll just give it a twist.
Oh, wow, it's strong as.
There we go, look.
I thought I was going to break it.
That's testing the old 10 screwdriver. Right, so you can now, very carefully, get one pad either side of the disc and slide it back on. There you go, perfect. And pop your bolts back in. The reason why we're putting it back together again is I've got to do a test ride at some point to check that gearbox stuff again.
Right.
And I'm going to need a front brake.
Yes. Where is my...
You've got one line up. Usually the top one's the easiest one to line up with the threads. And then the bottom one has to line up. Is it going in or not? If you take the bolt back out, and then you can have a look through the hole to line up your threads.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then once you've got it lined up, then pop the bolt back in. You closed an eye, that's classic. Fantastic. Well, there goes the air compressor.
No, why am I not?
Is it going in or not?
No.
You had one task,
What have
Lily.
I done wrong?
I don't know. Maybe you're in the wrong hole.
Maybe.
It's half my
I
problem.
don't usually get that wrong. Okay, got it.
You got it? Oh,
just needed to make the wrong hole comment.
You needed a bit of motivation, didn't you? That's what it was. Right, so the second one should be a lot easier.
Pretty much lined up, yes.
Yeah, that sounded terrible, didn't it? Okay. Right, so you've got your ratchet. Just give them a little tweak. You don't have to go mad, because I will be taking it off again to put those new pads. So you need to, because you still didn't undo. There you go. That's it. You got it. These 11 months, terrible, eh?
Oh, I know. You're getting how to use the tools even.
Perfect. That will do just fine. Okay.
Awesome.
Now, while we're at the front, we can check a couple more things. We can check the front tyre. Okay, are we on camera? We are on camera, look at that. So we can check the front tyre, and there's still a bit of meat left on that. Yes. It doesn't look perished or anything like that. So we'll leave the front tyre alone. It's got plenty of air pressure in it. It was a bit soft earlier on. Right. I've blown it up and it's held pressure, so there's no puncher as such.
Awesome.
So we'll leave that alone.
Cool.
I'll need to check the front wheel bearings, but I'll do that once it's out of the clamp, and I'll just spin it, see if they sound rough.
Yeah,
you know? And one other thing, we need to check that the forks aren't leaking. So these gaiters are held in place by a metal band. Is it a metal band, or is it a cable tie?
That one.
Holy crap! They put cable ties on. Okay, that's
the
cheap.
top has.
That's really cheap. Right, so we need some side cutters. We need to cut those cable ties. Cut the cable ties and move these boots up to see if these forks are leaking. I don't think they are, because they're quite dry on the outside.
Right.
But since we're doing a full inspection, we may as well do it properly.
Yeah.
So if you head over and get me some side cutters out of the toolbox.
Awesome.
Yeah. Right. Honestly, the stuff that goes on off camera is great, isn't it? Okay, if you head over to the toolbox, on the right hand side of the toolbox, you'll see some side cutters.
These ones?
Yeah, a bit like big nail clippers.
Not these ones.
Yes, those ones. Yeah. Well, they look like my nail clippers anyway.
How thick are your nails?
Oh, you don't want to know. Seriously. When the nails are bad, you've got to get the angle grinder out to All right, so see if you can... The easiest way, because they're actually a bit broken of those, I need to replace them to be fair, but if you get the head of the zip tie and just get onto there and just mutilate it basically. Just try not to damage the gator if you can.
Yes. Got it.
You got it? Look at that, you are brilliant. Okay, so now if you grab hold of that, you should be able to twizzle it up. And the question is, now there is some moisture in there, but I would say that that's water looking
There's
at it.
some brown liquidy stuff here. Oh,
okay, that might just be dirt.
yeah, it's that sort of.
If you just rub your finger on the actual fork down here, and and see if it feels oily and slippy,
Yes.
or does it feel watery? Because if it's oily, it'd be quite slippy. If it's watery, it's just feels like water. And usually, if they leak down the back.
Slightly oily or mix.
Right, but there's no
Or is it
there's no pooling of oil around there, is there, around the seal? There's no big sort of runs or anything like that. No, that's just grime, I think. Yeah. So that one's okay.
Yeah, that's good.
So what we need to do now, I will put that. We'll keep an eye on it when you use it. If you start to see oil running down here, then obviously have a fix the fork seals. But they actually look pretty good, to be honest. So I'll move the hoist so you can get around. You're so skinny. I bet you could get around here. So if you come and do the same thing on this side, and we'll check that one. This is what you call working in very close proximity, isn't it?
Spaces.
Smallest workshop in the world, this one. It's all because we can't be bothered to move the hoist out of the way. Where's that rag? Have a look. You alright?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's just dirt.
It is iron.
I think it's too bad. Because this seal that we can see here, the black seal,
This one's definitely cleaner.
that's only a dust seal. The main seal is down the bottom. It's a few millimeters underneath it is the main seal. This is just for keeping the dust out. So.
This one's definitely good.
Is it nice and dry?
Yeah. Oh, it's got the water, but it's not.
Yeah,
oily.
I'm sure that's just water
Yeah.
because the bike's been stood and on its side and stuff.
Yes.
So the seal itself looks pretty good, doesn't it? Cool. Okay.
Where's the?
Yeah, that's just grime that's going. Because with these, they usually have little vent holes. Yes, down the bottom. If you look at if you twistle it round, you see these little vent holes.
Oh yes, yep.
So dirt will get in. Dust will definitely get in.
Yes.
In the morning, because obviously farmers use their bikes quite early in the morning, don't they? Normally, the bike is normally very, very cold. The steel's cold, and they're riding through misty air.
Yeah. Right.
So the moisture actually builds up on here, and on some farm bikes, over a period of time, that moisture that's on the fork, when they're going over the bumps, it gets drawn through the seal, and the moisture gets into the oil inside the fork, and the oil, so the water mixes with the oil, and eventually you get so much liquid, oil and water together in the fork that it can't fully compress anymore, and it starts to hydraulic, and you end up with no fork movement. It's like a solid bar, and then they usually fall off at that point and realise there's a problem.
Time for some repairs.
There's no suspension at the front. Oh, okay, we'll fix it for you, no problem. Cool. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. So we can forget the zip ties. We'll just there you go. Have a free rein.
Thank you.
And when you finish, just wind it back down. We won't bother with the zip tie. I'll put those on later on. We'll just put those back, make it look normal again. Bloody ash! I'm actually quite impressed so far with the overall condition of this bike. There's nothing major yet.
Yes.
You know, I still can't understand why the bike was scrapped. I'm really hoping that there's nothing wrong with the gearbox.
Right.
You know, because that potentially could be the problem.
Yes. Yeah. How do you test that when you take it
I've
for
got
a
to go for a ride on
driveway?
it. Yeah, I've got to go for a ride. I'm going to annoy the neighbours at some point. Yeah. Coolio.
Right, I'm trying to pull this over the top.
Oh, I'm sure you'd be just fine with one of those.
There we go.
Good job. Excellent. Right, let's get this hoist moved and we'll look down the other side of the bike.
Cool.
I hope you're putting those tools away nice and neatly for me.
Yes, I'm like the spinner so
Brandon will be very upset if you're not looking after him, you know.
OCD.
I'm always in trouble for not keeping my tools tidy. Tang tools are always giving me grief, honestly. And rightly so, because they should be kept clean and tidy, but I'm terrible. Are you cleaning your new bike already?
Yes, I'm so ready to get
Look
my
at this,
hands
like a
on.
giant lipstick mark.
I like
on the side there. What's going on there?
I'll like clean it up and then I'll take it for one ride and it will be muddy.
Good job. Okay, well the exhaust looks in pretty good nick. I reckon this almost looks like it's stainless steel this bit. It's pretty good. And again, that's another sort of thing that they do for farm bikes, because as you can see, corrosion's a big problem on the farm with all the...
Yeah.
Okay, spark plug, well we know it runs. The spark plug doesn't look rusty or anything, it looks quite new, so we'll leave that alone.
Awesome.
We know it's got enough oil. I'll obviously give it an oil change, but I want to make sure that the bike's going to be fixable, basically, before I do anything like that. So I'm not going to give it a service yet.
Right.
We need to check the condition of the air filter. So that might be behind this panel. It's either under the seat or behind this panel. So if you grab that ratchet and the socket we used last time, you can whiz that out and we'll have a look behind there.
Awesome.
Because like I say, I've never worked on one of these. I have no idea.
Right, we shall find out.
Right.
What number was it? 12?
No, that's that funny Allen key socket that we need for the side panel, remember? Be so much better when that wall's gone, won't it?
Yeah, go straight through.
You do get your step count up now, though, when there's a wall there.
Work on my calves with the heels.
Yeah. Right, so you want to pull that side cover off for us?
Yeah.
I'm just going to stand back and watch, because it's...
And
So make sure you're in lefty loosey.
yeah. No.
Good job.
No, I can't do that.
Good stuff.
Awesome.
I wonder if this one's going to come off easier than the last one. It was a bit of a tug of war, wasn't it, last time? But there's a grommet behind there, isn't
Yeah,
there?
I think there were two.
If you start with that, oh, that's more like it.
There's one.
You've got an idea
There's
what's
another
going
one just here.
Oh, really?
There we go.
Wow. Oh, that's much better.
Done.
Okay, well, there's no air filter there. So we need to take the seat off. Bugger. That was worth a try, wasn't it? Alright, so how is the seat held on? It feels like it's held under there, so... Geez, I think...
Is it not like...
No, it's definitely going to have bolts.
Right.
Oh man, it could be.
Is it under this? No, because that's on top of that. Can this come off?
We can take it off. So we've got...
So you have to take this off?
No, that one and that one. That's... Oh, that's going to come off. That might be it, actually. It might be that. Yes. So what size is that? Classic stuff.
12.
So 12mm socket, ratchet and your extension. Oh, you've got the ratchet, so you need the little extension bar as well, I reckon. Yeah. Perfect.
Sweet. Oh.
It's a bit harder with the extension bar, isn't it? Because you lose that sort
Play.
of leverage.
Oh, I think I just hit it off, actually.
When was the last time you went to the gym?
I don't go to the gym.
I'm
I'm not a gym type girl.
Before you're not a gym bunny.
Before I thread them.
There you go,
yeah.
that's right. You can finish that off then. There you go. I should get you the impact rates, really, shouldn't I? So you go, zoom.
Yes.
Right, I'll get that for you.
Yes, why are we not doing that?
I just like watching you work.
I just like watching you work harder. Oops.
Bloody good. Right, just to see if we're right, see if that seat starts to loop. Oh yeah, look at that.
Nice.
Perfect. Now that might have a grommet behind it as well.
It does, I can feel.
Jeez.
Not myself.
Smack yourself in the face, why don't you? Right, so you got to squeeze down the other side and do the other one. Lily. Right, Lily. Try that.
Thank you.
Good job. I'm just going to move the camera a bit further around now. Dunk. There you go.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
You got it? Now be careful because it's on like a little wobbly extension bar, so it could fly out at you. Oh, too easy, eh? Good job.
Oh, the washer's still on there.
Oh, you can leave that. You're probably supposed to stay. Oh, you got
Oh,
it?
yeah, there was a little like lip on it.
That's called a top
I'm sure
hat.
the other one didn't have
It's
that.
called a top hat washer. Good job. Okay, so we need to lower the bike down now and take the seat off.
Right.
Because hopefully the air filter's under the
Just need to
seat.
take this off.
Yep.
Sweet.
Good job.
Right.
Right, Lily, if you grab underneath the hoist here, there's a red bar.
Oh, yes.
If you grab that by the handle and flick it up, give it a good shove. Many fingers. Give it a good shove. There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Right.
And then you can let the hoist down. Okay, cover your ears.
Yeah.
Be real noisy.
Done.
Hokey dokey. Right. Let's get that seat taken off. Okay, so what you need to do when you're taking the seat, normally you lift the back up and then slide the seat backwards. There you go, because it's under a little hook under here, you see?
I see.
You got it?
Yep.
Perfect. Right, we've found what we're looking for. Brilliant.
Awesome.
Right, Lily, the air filter, by the looks of it, is under here. This is like a little
right.
trap door to the air filter. So
Yeah.
I think it looks very Heath Robinson, this design, but anyway. We'll just pull those little tabs. That should come all the way out now.
Yep.
Coolio. Oh, it looks a bit mucky, doesn't it?
It does.
It's very dirty. Yeah, look at the state of that foam.
So dirty.
Yeah, there's a lot of dust and stuff, which is again what you expect on a farm bike. Yeah, it's pretty rough. So
Yeah.
again, as part of the service, that filter will be taken out. I'll give it a wash and some proper filter cleaner,
Right.
and then put the fresh. You actually use oil on the filter to help
Yes.
trap the dirt.
Right.
So I'll refresh that during the service, but it's intact. It's definitely
Yes.
serviceable. We can clean it. I don't need to order a new filter by the looks of it.
Yep, yep. Cool.
Perfect. Okay.
Awesome.
We're not far off. One more thing I did spot though. Let's take a look.
Right.
Right, Lily, we're going to put the bike back up in the air again. So mind your ears. Now this time, you know that red bar that you put up,
Yes.
can you give it a shove down? It's quite stiff. There you go. Cool, that'll do. You are cleaning the bike again, aren't you?
Getting it ready.
I can see you're starting to get an attachment to this bike.
I am. It's like my new baby. Don't need horses anymore.
God, good. Have I? Have I?
Get two motorbikes.
Yeah, I've converted one. That is fantastic.
My
I'm so
place will
happy.
be like yours outside soon. The only place is I don't have storage.
No, you don't. That's a
So
problem.
annoying.
Jeez.
At least this one I can keep. Although I could keep it at the horses, but then will someone steal it?
If you keep it in the back, I'll get you. Well, you can use a big chain.
Can you lock it somehow?
Yeah, you'll be able to lock it to a post or something, won't you? It'll be alright. That'd be cool. Jeez. Well,
No.
so it was a free shed.
Yes, I saw it on the marketplace and it was nice.
So you had to go and pick it up and reassemble it somewhere else.
Yes, I had to go and either take it apart and put it on a trailer or just put it whole onto something big enough.
How
to
big is it?
transport I don't know. It must have been probably there. Just a normal little shed size, like aluminium shed.
Oh, that'd go on the trailer, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. We should go and get. Is it still there? Has it
I
gone?
think they sold it.
Yeah, it's
but
gone.
I'm always on the lookout.
Find another one. And we'll go and get
I
it
will
picked
find
up.
another one and I will call you.
Sounds good. Right. So what did I find when we were working on the rear wheel? I spotted something else on this side. So let me just move the camera around so we can see what's going on.
Like, give me a hint and I'll try. And
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll give you a hint. We've checked the front brake, right?
Yeah.
We've done that. What about the rear brake? So if you go over this side here, look, I think you're still going to be in shot. Yes. If you press the brake lever down, so you've got your foot peg there. Look, that's the brake lever. Press it down. Does it feel like it's doing anything?
No.
That's because there's a bit missing. Look, the lever's moving. But there's no rod.
Oh no.
The rod's gone, so I'm going to have to find, hopefully off one of the scrap bikes, a rod. And the bit here that it connects to is all bent. See, it's all like chewed up.
Can this have anything to do with the gear thing that you were talking about?
No, totally separate. But you see here, look, this arm should be down here like this. It's all bent forwards.
You can see all that.
And all bent. This is rusty, so it's been stressed. So this will need to be replaced as well.
Right.
And a new rod put in. But just moving this, I spin the wheel with all the broken spokes. The brake is still functional.
Right.
Even though the chain's completely buggered.
Yes.
So that internally is working fine, and it's way beyond way before its wear limits, which are marked on here. So all we need to do is fix the outside stuff and it's good to go.
Right.
So we've got that to do as well. So I think we've done a pretty good appraisal of the bike.
Yes.
So we got it running, didn't we? We got it running. Yes. It runs mint.
It was good.
In actual, I'm a bit dubious. It runs far too well for a bike that's been thrown away, to be perfectly honest. So I'm thinking that there is something we've not yet found.
Yeah.
It's not really in a fit state to do a road test yet. I need to get that rear brake working. And the chain, again, is in such a bad condition that I think just putting some oil on it isn't going to be good enough for a test ride. It's going to cause all sorts of problems and make some pretty weird noises, and I don't want it jumping off and damaging potentially what is a good gearbox. So what have we found so far, Lily? We found, starting at the back, we found some broken spokes.
Yep.
In the rear wheel. Needs a new rear tyre, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And making our way forwards, it needs new front brake pads.
Yes.
What else does it need? Oh, it needs that rear brake sorting out. It needs a new, there's a problem with the ignition barrel where the ignition is on all the time. Need to diagnose that. That'll be a separate video. And it needs a new battery. So maybe the battery was taken off because the ignition has stayed on, it had flattened the battery, and they've just gone, oh, too hard. Not going to buy a new battery for it, just scrap the bike. And I think, providing that the gearbox, and there's no internal fault with the gearbox or the clutch, which we've not tested either, I think this could turn out to be a really cool little bike, actually.
Awesome.
Not too much expenditure to fix it. I mean, obviously I get trade prices. I have some very good friends at Derby Accessories in Auckland, and Ian there does me some great deals on the parts that I need. So I'm sure you'll see me right on a new battery that will fit this bike, and chain and sprockets and bits, and even brake pads if I haven't got them in stock. So I'm not too concerned about the expense, although it's like a chicken and egg situation. I want to make sure that the gearbox is right before I spend any money. So maybe I'll take the chain off and just soak it in some oil and try and free off those what we call frozen or seized links, and that's why the wheel's jamming. Well, can I ride it with those broken spokes? Yeah, I can, but I'm going to snip them out of the way. I don't want them getting caught in the chain or you know, and getting bent and causing more problems. The rear brake I can fix pretty easily. I've got 2 scrap bikes. I'm sure that the parts will be on there. To get that sorted out. So it needs to be sort of semi-safe to ride.
Yes,
hopefully. Yeah. So there you go. This is Tool Girl Lilli's new paddock bashing bike.
Thank you.
Pretty cool, isn't it?
So lucky.
And yeah, I mean, there are outside another. Well, you've seen them. There's like
bit of a collection.
There's about
going
11
up there.
Hondas outside that are all farm bikes as well. But the Suzuki really caught my eye in the fact that it looked so clean and tidy.
Yes.
That this is the bike for Lily. The Hondas, they look in a pretty bad state, to be honest. They all look pretty wrecked.
Right.
Ben's been messaging me once he found out I had all these new bikes in the workshop. He says, "Oh, can I have some? I can make some.
Can I have some?
I can make some out of one good one out of 2 or 3 bad ones." And I said,
yeah.
"No problem, son. There's plenty more on the way anyway."
Cool. Awesome.
So the next few weeks, I have another job. I have this bike to get up and running for Tool Girl Lilli, and you're going to see the videos, and maybe, just maybe, we'll film delivering the bike to Lily, and she could do a piece to camera blasting across the field.
See
and,
guys.
you know, maybe she'll crash and we'll get lots of views and make loads of money out of it. Who knows? That's cool. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I enjoyed checking the bike out.
That was
really
cool.
good. Yeah. And the workshop's not too bad, even with the wall still in place. I was really worried about that causing problems.
I love it.
Yeah?
It's really cool.
You like it? Me too. Well, that's about it. If you enjoyed the video and the others on the channel, why not click on the subscribe button? You'll see it up there, look. Once you've clicked subscribe, you'll see a little gear icon turn up. Click on the gear icon and then you can tick the box and turn on notifications. If you're on a smart device, just ring the bell. Exactly the same thing. Our friends then at YouTube will send you an email as and when I upload any new videos. And over the next few months, especially over the Christmas period and the New Year, you're going to see a lot more videos hit the channel. It's not because I have more time. I'm just going to make time to get these videos done. And I have got a deadline, obviously, now to get this bike done, ready for Christmas. What else? You'll also find us on
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
You will.
Twitter.
Twitter. Do you call it Twitter?
No, I called it Twitter on the first video.
Oh, you did. Well, you can't stick.
You set me
up.
up.
Yeah, I did. I like to set those up. So you can communicate through any of those portals. There's also the email address down in the description, and there's also a
Patreon page.
There is a Patreon page, so you can go onto there. And what are they going to find on the Patreon page, Lily?
History of the channel itself and
That's right.
all the Tool Girl profiles and introductions of who we are.
Yeah, and a bit of history there, and
I think there's photos too.
there's heaps of
Lots of
pictures,
photos
hundreds
and
and
things.
hundreds of photos that you can download, or high resolution pictures that you can make up a screensaver or use as your wallpaper or whatever.
And if you do send us a photo of your computer setup with your wallpaper.
Oh yes, yes. Email that through, and tell me what you've come up with those pictures. It'd be great to hear. Because we've got 44,000 subscribers out there now. Hello everybody.
Hey guys.
It's great to have you all on board as well. Actually, it's
Absolutely.
pretty amazing.
Exciting.
It is. What else? Oh yes, there's a PayPal icon now on the main homepage of Andy Mechanic on the YouTube channel, and you can click on that and you can make an instant donation should you feel that that's justified. Obviously, any money that comes through is much appreciated, and will be put to good use in bringing you new videos, and of course, helping fix Tool Girl Lilli's new motorcycle. Absolutely. Okay, crew.
Awesome.
Well, so go on, Lilli. You can sign out. You can say goodbye.
All right, guys.
Hi. I don't like saying goodbye.
Oh, I'm like, I don't remember how you do that.
you?
No.
Okay. All right.
All
Press
right.
press the record button. Oh, you go on. Give it a go. Let's see what happens. No. You can't press stop. Okay, crew. Well, it's goodbye from Andy Mechanic and goodbye from
Tool Girl Lilli.
It Is. Until next time. Cheers.
See you guys.
Over and out. And we get the pick up again.
Oh.
Really.